Power Hour, John Lee.
Welcome back to the Power Hour. Power Hour people say yes. I am John Lee. We're doing the Power Hour again. We're rocking it out selective. Today we're looking at times when the wheels of justice have just fucking rolled straight over people who didn't have the power or the money or the influence to protect themselves from the system, from the machine. Welcome, my son. Welcome to the machine. Quick Pink Floyd tribute there. We're going to start with Rubin Carter. Many of you might know Rubin, many of you won't. Who gives a fuck? I'm going to tell you now anyway. Rubin Carter was a middleweight boxer, and he was quite good. He was like, if you know your boxing, I would say that he was a poor man's Marvin Hagler. So he could swap, you know what I mean? He was great on the attack. He ran over people, he ran through people, he was vicious, smash, really hurt people. But he was a typical kind of a case where any time he came up against somebody who had superior boxing skills, because he wasn't the greatest boxer, superior boxing skills and could take a punch, he fucking folded. You know what I mean? He was a bully. And that's what bullies do. They fucking come on strong, they give it all the big one, they start giving out licks. But if they realise after a few punches or whatever, or even if it's in a different context, if they realise that their bullying is not really doing what they want it to do, it's not having the desired effect, then all the self-doubt that they carry inside them starts to flood to the surface. The nightmares start coming through in the mind. What if this doesn't work? What if the fucking bully becomes the bully, starts fucking bullying me? Oh my God, I've fucking gone out on a limb here with my bullying tactics. If I get smashed after this, I'm going to look a right cunt, and then I'm going to have to try and live with myself. And that doubt, it just floods the mind and floods the body. And that's why they always crumble. That's why bullies always crumble when you push back. And he was like that. And he got into the middle rounds as a boxer, and if anyone said, well, I don't think you're that fucking hard, you know what I mean? I'll see you in 1 minute, dickhead. You know, then he fell apart, and he lost a lot of fights for that reason. And another thing about Rubin Carter, as I say, he was a bully, right? He's a fucking arsehole. And he had a lot of racist tendencies, right? I mean, anti-white tendencies, very strongly anti-white. Now, I'm kind of anti-establishment by nature, and if you consider that the establishment is predominantly, if not almost exclusively, white, on a global level, then I can understand a black person being against that, feeling frustrated by that, feeling excluded from that, and feeling like you were born into a lower caste, and no matter how good you are or how clever you are or anything else, you will never belong to that. The good news is neither will I. Do you know what I mean? Neither will I. But I'm not saying I understand black people. I'm saying that I am not part of the machine or the privileged few. So on some level I can understand why black people would feel that way. Another thing, however, I would suggest is to hate a person based on the colour of their skin. And that's what Rubin Carter did. He hated white people. Anyone was white, you know what I mean? So if he was talking to you on the phone and he was having a great time with you, thinking you're fucking brilliant, and then you say, by the way, I'm white, and he says, right, I fucking hate you now. That's racism. This guy was a fucking racist, and he was a violent bastard, and he was generally disliked. And so he was actually, as he became more famous, he became more unpopular with the establishment, with the state. White people in power, white America as they call it, didn't like him. You know, if you're going to be famous and you're going to be rich and you're going to be successful in our fucking system, playing our game, then you need to observe our rules. And our rules specifically state that black people will know their place. Right? Don't run around criticising us, talking about the system, talking about racism, even using fucking defamatory language, because we will stamp on your neck. And unfortunately, that has been proven true. Not just against black people. I'll come to other cases later, but it's very hard to look beyond the plight of the African. And so, this guy is a decent boxer, but he's a bad man in lots of ways. He's violent. He comes from New Jersey. He's from Paterson, New Jersey. It's a tough area. It's a rough area. He's known as an hard bastard growing up. He's a violent kid, violent youth. That's why he got into his boxing, and he was just, he licked people up, and he had a talent for hurting people, as I say. But a bully, not used to taking his beats, you see. And growing up in that environment, as a black man with a bad attitude, antisocial and racist, he was pretty much an easy target for anybody who wanted to paint him in a negative light. Easy done. And then one night, somebody walked into a bar, early doors, as we say, in the early hours of the morning, 2:30 in the morning, 2:30 a.m. Somebody walks into a bar, two guys, and one of them opens fire and shoots and kills three men. One of them's trying to get away. Fat lad, fat guy, trying to run away. Poor bastard. You know what I mean? Now, I don't know what's going on. I don't know who's done what to who and what the dynamics are. But fuck me, if you find yourself running away from a fucking gunman who's trying to kill you and he's shooting you and your mates are fucking dead on the floor, that's a really bad experience. And that's what happened. They were shot and killed in cold blood. This was a gangland assassination, you might say. I'm assuming it was a gang thing. It's hardcore for a personal issue, that. And so they were taken out, and then Reuben Carter was generally in the area, and he had a very kind of obvious or notable car, and it was a white car that was very noticeable in the area, and so that was kind of recognised, and they were stopped. While they were doing the thing, Reuben Carter and his friend, a guy called Artis, they were in the car, and there was another guy in the car, and they were stopped by the police, and they were quizzed, and they were asked questions about it, and they said, "Well, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about," and so a search was done. They went through the routine of it all, and they got them out of the car, torches. Hands and feet, neck, you know what I mean, behind the ears. And then they searched the vehicle. Now you're saying, well, why would they do that? Well, because if you're fucking shotgun blast somebody or, whatever, fucking what was that? Or you're just going to fucking beat somebody, the places where you're not going to clean are going to be behind your ears. You might get blood splash like that, yeah? And you're going in, you run in a bathroom somewhere, you give it some of this, maybe you might miss behind the ears, under the collar. So that's why they'll grip you, the police, like that, chin up, pull your collar down, like that, behind your ears, give all that shit, under your nails, you know what I mean? So they've given them all that. And then they've turned the car out, so everything's out on the fucking pavement. They're looking for any weapons, any sign of blood in the car, anything that might indicate a crime, fuck all, nothing. You know what I mean? The car was clean and they were clean. And this crime had only happened a few minutes before. So the idea, right, that they would have been able to walk into this bar, murder three men at close range, blast, 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 then fucking leave the bar, get in their highly identifiable vehicle, by the way, and drive around the local area, only to be pulled over a few minutes later, clean. I mean, it's a major operation to clean yourself down after a triple murder, I imagine. So for all three of them to do it successfully and then get in the car and not leave any trace of anything in the car, I know we're talking pre-DNA, but even fibres and whatnot, fuck all, no sign of any violence, no guns, nothing. What have they done with the guns and the ammo? And so they were allowed to go, but then they were stopped again. About 45 minutes later, they're driving where they're driving, and they get pulled over again, and this time they're arrested, right? And they were interrogated for 17 hours, and then they were released. 17 hours of interrogation. and they're released. Then they're arrested again 3 weeks later. So what does that tell me? Well, you could say it's part of the course of an interrogation. If you're going to interrogate somebody for 17 hours, it's because you've got a lot of questions. Now, they've been stopped, they've been checked, they've been searched, they've been examined. Nothing's been found. Minutes after the crime. That would indicate innocence to me, because I just see it so logistically difficult to achieve that. But nonetheless, they're interviewed for 17 hours and they're not charged. They're actually released. A few weeks later, they get arrested again. So there's alarm bells ringing here. You fucking pulled them over at the time. You've checked them, you've checked the car, you've let them go. You've gone, you've arrested them again, you've pulled them in. Right, 45 minutes later, you've fucking nicked them again, you've brought them in, you've interrogated them for 17 hours, right, the same night, into the next day, and then you've released them again. Then you've gone back weeks later and arrested them. What does that tell me? That tells me that you tried to fucking pin it on these guys. You did whatever the fuck you could to pin it on these black men in a car. Pin it on these fucking black men in a car. And you couldn't. Couldn't fucking rustle up any evidence. Maybe there were too many people around to plant evidence, or you didn't bring the evidence with you to plant. And so you couldn't do it like that. Fuckers. Right, let you go. These fuckers are going down that road. Right? We couldn't fucking keep them. We couldn't hold them. We couldn't bring them in. There'd no violations. Couldn't find any fucking violations. Get them again. Right, so they've gone after them this time. Fucking brought them in. 17 hours. We'll have your family in a cell. You fucker. We'll ruin your life in this way, that way, and the other fucking way. You'll do fucking 10 years in jail waiting for your trial, because we won't give you a fucking trial, you scumbag. You think we haven't got tricks? Right? If you didn't do this, you did something else. All that fucking shit. Giving it the big un. Giving it the big un. Right? Maybe licking them up. Bang, bang. You know, sign that. And they wouldn't. They said, fuck you. So they had to let them go. Had to let them go again. After 17 hours, I'm feeling like they let them go because they had to let them go. And then they're going around, right, fuck it, let's find someone else. Let's fucking pin this shit on someone else. Because we don't know who did it, or we do, and we don't want to arrest them for whatever reason. Maybe the crime was done by people on our payroll, not necessarily police. Maybe cooperating witnesses, right? Grasses, fucking, you know, people who are wired up working for the FBI, whatever. We don't want to arrest them. Get some black men in. Fucking charge them. They've probably done something anyway. And then they've gone around for a few weeks looking for someone else to blame. Haven't been able to fucking come up with anybody. So they went, right, go and get them fuckers. You watch. Watch and learn. So they brought them back in and they put the case up. Right? Look at him. He's fucking black. Of course he did it. You know what I mean? And his fucking mates, they did it as well. And I mean, the thing is, fucking Carter, Reuben Carter, he was a fucking knob. He was a dickhead. Right? Terrible personality, arrogant bastard. He was a violent man. And was on record as talking about going down to a white area and just fucking killing everybody. So he wasn't a pleasant character. So it was quite easy to convince a jury, at least to scare the jury, look, get this guy off the fucking street. You're exactly the kind of people he will be going after. He won't recognise you next week. He'll fucking kill you and take your money off you. Get him in a cell. So, you know, it's not an hard sell, that. You can fucking sell that to middle-class people of any colour. And his mate, though, the guy who was with him, who got sent down, Artis, Mr. Artis, he was the nicest, sweetest lad in the world. What the fuck he was doing in the car, I don't know. Absolutely not the kind of person you would associate with any kind of violence, much less violent crime. And wrong place, wrong time, wrong company. They both get life sentences. Well, they all do. All three of them. I think all three of them got life sentences. They were convicted for the 3 murders anyway. Actually, check that. I'm not sure on the third one. I know Carter and Artis did. They got life sentences for the 3 murders at state prison. And, you know, they had appeals and all that. Fuck off. You know, another appeal, fuck off. And what happened is, they got them in a box. And then once they've got you in that box, they don't want to let you out. And we can hypothesize, why not? Is it because they don't want to climb down? Because they want to save face? Is it that they don't want to face the accusations of racism and stereotyping? Is it that they want to protect the system? Is that the nature of the system to protect itself? And these people that you're seeing in uniforms or ties, they're just part of the system. They're cogs of the system. They're fucking robots, essentially, who just get wheeled out to protect the fucking system. And so the prosecutors and the judges and the probation officers and the media, anyone who's part of the machine, part of the system, is there, and they've got a job to do, and that job is to protect the fucking system itself. And this guy proposes a danger because if he's fucking railroaded, if he's been slammed in a cell for something that he didn't do, and these cops fucking either have no idea whether he did it or not, or they actively know he didn't fucking do it, and then that was able to sail through the court system. This guy was getting sent down for life, and his mate gets sent down for life. And fucking all the judicial processes and the legal systems that are supposed to be great, nothing but glorious statements from the American establishment about their judicial system, which for me is bought and paid for, and that's the point, I think, really. The whole fucking thing could crumble if that comes to light, because the truth comes out. It's a fucking pay-for-play system, right? If you've got the money to pay for that lawyer, and that lawyer can go out and hire a private fucking detective, top quality, and you can get your own experts in, you can get your own forensic work done, right? You can get your own experts charging by the hour to come into a courtroom and convince a jury that you are fucking innocent, or cloud the issue so much with verbal and intellectual gymnastics that nobody can remember what the fucking charge was to begin with. And then you're going to say as well, there's that hint, fucking, what if you're wrong? He's far more dangerous than a real murderer, this guy, or a tenpenny gangster. This guy's part of the establishment. Are you really going to send this white man to prison? And what if he gets out in 6 months and comes after you with his lawyers and all that shit? And and all these friends in positions of power. Do you want to get on the wrong side of this clique in society? Because that's what you're doing. And I think that's what we're coming down to. I mean, how many fucking rich people are filling up death row? How many people on death row come from affluent backgrounds? How many guilty people bought their way out of legal problems? Countless. And I think that's what's happening in America. Obviously, what you've got is a system which has been bought and paid for, like every other system. It's a hyper-capitalist society in which everything is up for sale. And I don't think justice is outside that dynamic, that equation. I think it's absolutely fundamentally part of it. And it's a great example of what happens when capitalism goes rogue. It becomes fascism. It loses all sensation and it becomes solid. And what is fascism? Little detour. It's when it's literally, you get little sticks like that are breakable, right? And you pull them all together into one bunch of sticks and you tie them round like that. And now that bunch of sticks is fucking unbreakable. You will not break that. That is the whole concept of fascism. It's the press and it's the fucking judicial system. It's all the elements, the politicians, it's the army, it's the police. It's all possible nodes or pillars of power brought together and united into one block that is totally unbreakable and totally impenetrable. That's what fascism is. And when you're seeing it in America now, over the last 40 years at least, you have to say that there is at least a strong fascist element to the governance of the United States, and that gives us this hallmark, this completely unfair system of punishment, where if the state decides you're guilty, you're fucking guilty, get in your cell and you come out feet first. And so this guy, he managed to get the attention anyway. Rubin got the attention of some well-meaning journalists, writers, and they started petitioning and getting things together and mobilising his case, and eventually He got a retrial, I think, 1985. His conviction was overturned in 1985, and they let him go. And then there were fucking prosecutors said, right, fuck it. We can't. It's not that we're going to say he's innocent. We're not going to admit that he's innocent. We're not going to try the case again because we're not going to spend the money on it, and we'll probably lose, and we're getting too much attention. So they let him go, and he became a free man. And I've seen him in interviews. He strikes me as a fucking dickhead, unpleasant individual. And again, Denzel, you're guilty, mate. Denzel Washington. Guilty of being part of these propaganda films. He's kind of, well, maybe not propaganda, but nicing it all up and abandoning reality entirely when you're playing the part of somebody, of a real character. So we saw him in American Gangster as Frank Lucas, which was a fucking absolute bastardization of the real story of Frank Lucas. He was also in The Hurricane, right? Where he played Reuben Carter, and that film is again an absolute bastardization of the story of Hurricane Carter. He didn't become a fucking smurf at the end of the film. He came out as a fucking idiot who got out of prison because he was probably innocent of the crime, but he didn't come out as the fucking Captain Kumbaya that Denzel likes to portray him as. 19 fucking years in jail he did. 19 years in jail for a crime that he did not commit. Why? Because he was black and he had an unpalatable attitude and he didn't have the money and the connections to buy his way out of a cell. So, Reuben Carter was freed in the end. We're going to boom across the room to Jamie Nelson. Total change of pace now. Absolutely different. Totally different thing, but it's relevant because the man went to prison for a crime he didn't commit. He's not famous. There's no films about him. Not too much information to be found. What happened with him was he was a very ordinary guy in Canada, right? And he met a barmaid. It's a totally unremarkable story as it starts. He's a single guy and he meets a barmaid, right? And he starts getting to know this barmaid. And he's a chef. She's a barmaid. Very ordinary story. And I think there may have been some kind of flirting going on, but then her friend appears in the scene, right? The barmaid's friend. And he starts flirting with the barmaid's friend. Starts connecting with the barmaid's friend more than her. Barmaid's not feeling it. Not fucking feeling it at all. But, you know, like going past like that, going slag in her ear. And then carrying on as though nothing happened. It was that kind of atmosphere. And she was causing trouble and trying to split them up. Right? Just through pure jealousy. You know, accidentally smashing glasses in the bar and all that. And, I mean, he says that, you know, they kind of noticed this and they were a little bit worried about it, but not too much. She was just jealous, and that was all there was to it, really. And so he married the woman, right? The friend. She's not that important to the story. So he marries her, and, you know, it goes fucking tits up, as relationships will do. And there's kids involved, right? And it's a messy breakup. But he's trying to get custody. So there's a custody battle. And in comes the friend. Here comes the barmaid again. And she's still friends with what is now his wife. And she accuses him of a physical attack. She says that this guy, Jamie Nelson, who's not that kind of character at all, was nice, kind of bland, local guy who works as a chef. Doesn't mean he wouldn't do it, you never know. But he certainly doesn't appear violent to me. And he's just attacked her out of blue, and he's fucking beat her up. And so this goes into the court cases now and starts fucking with the programme. He starts getting arrested. And this continues. Right? She accuses him again. He ends up, he loses custody of his kids. One day he goes round and he manages to get the kids because she keeps making excuses to not give him the kid. And by this time he's met another woman. He's met a new lady. He's got a new lady in his life. And they're having a strong relationship. And they've gone round as a couple and got the kids. And so it's at that time, right, when things go they get completely out of control at this point. And it's getting worse and worse. And she starts making claims that he's been round there and he's battered her. But she got all the fucking times and dates wrong. Couldn't have happened. So he thinks, well, it's okay. Everything's all right because she's been found out because that couldn't have happened. And they move away. And they're 45 minutes drive away. And one day, the police come to the house and they kick the fucking door in. Right? He's in there with his wife and a couple of kids. And the police come, booyaka, through the front door. Dickhead, on the fucking ground now. Wife's fucking going, what the fuck are you doing? What the fuck? Shut up, you fucking bitch. These guys are fucking lunatics, man. I think what they do is, they pull up in the van, right, with all this fucking, all the gear on like that, and then they just get a big fucking bag that says police on it, and they open it and just go like that. Fuck off with the primo cocaine that they get and they keep from the top drug dealers. I think they keep the best cocaine for themselves, them fuckers. And they smash it up the beak, fucking rush for a couple of minutes like that, and then just when they start to feel like they're coming off that wave, that's when they go booyaka through the fucking door, because they're not rational and they're not normal. They come through the fucking door super fucking hyped. See the way they search things, just gripping a mirror and fucking it off across the room. How is that going to help you find something, you twat? You know what I mean? You're not searching, are you? You're just vandalising because you're coked off your fucking mind. And also what we're doing is we're traumatising every cunt, because then we're going to feel really hard on the way home because we traumatised some kids. And that's what they did. They went in there, they booyaked it, complete. And they take him into custody and she's thinking, fuck off. What's all this? He's been accused of rape. And they say to her, you fucking stupid bitch, get the fuck away from here. Move as far away as you can. Get away from him. He's a beast. He's a sex beast. Right? And she's saying he's not a fucking sex beast. He's my husband now. Even if he was a sex beast, she might be saying that anyway, defending her husband. So anyway, he fucking goes to prison and the evidence is fucked. I mean, there's this shit. There's no fucking evidence against him at all. It's just this woman's fucking word that he's done it. Guilty. Prison. Fucking holding cell. Nasty. Then he gets taken to a fucking really bad jail in Canada. Big, massive place called the Millhaven Institution. It's a maximum security prison. This is a guy who's done fuck all wrong. Right? He went with the wrong woman. Right? He should have chose the fucking psycho barmaid. I mean, I think when you meet somebody like that, because she was making these claims against him, don't forget, because he preferred her friend. He never hit her. He never fucking raped her. It's all bullshit. All lies. The story don't even make sense. They fucking locked him up anyway. He's in this fucking Millhaven institution. He's doing stupid time in solitary confinement. He can't see his kids. The fucking social services basically go to his house and say to his wife, your husband's a fucking sex pest, fucking sex offending motherfucker. Now gives you kids. And they took the kids off her. Why the fuck are you taking the kids off her? Even if he is a sex pest, why are you taking the kids off the mother? So they put the kids into the fucking system. So now, they're fucked. She's losing her mind, the wife. She can't pay the bills, right? She's losing the kids. He's in fucking prison. He's in his cell, right? He fucking ties a sheet round a light at the top of the cell, which apparently is easy to do, and fucking jumps off a chair, and he's hanging himself. It's only because he woke his cellmate up kicking a sink that his cellmate got out of bed and saved him. right? His mind's fucked, right? He's gone past the point of rational thought, and he won't see his family, he won't see his wife, because he don't want them to see him in the orange jumpsuit and all that. He don't want them to have that memory of him. I can understand that, especially when it's like a false sex charge. And so he does about 3 years in prison, this poor bastard, and he's having his rumbles in there. He's gone in there, the nicest lad in the world. He's getting attacked and brutalised all the time. He starts fighting back, turns into a nasty fucker himself. You know, law of the jungle. Terrible way to ruin a person and ruin a family, you know, and give somebody a stigma. I mean, there's still plenty of people who just believe that kind of no smoke without fire. If someone says you're a rapist, you must be a rapist. You know, at least a part-time rapist, you know what I mean? And he's branded now. There's a lot of people who won't fucking believe that he's not a rapist, even though the evidence is empirical. It proves, fuck me, this guy did nothing wrong. And what was later found out, I mean, what was the thing that actually got him out of prison, really, was the fact that the woman who was accusing him was a lady called Kathy Fordham, who, it transpires, was a serial accuser. Fucking always accusing people of rape. You know what I mean? And she had a boarding house. And this is a common ploy. Never trust anyone with a boarding house. She's got a boarding house of people who have been released from prison, right? It's like a halfway house. And they get their social security checks sent to her. Or in some cases sent to them. But what she'll do is she'll play games with that. And one of the tricks was take them all out to the bar, the ones who are on probation who are not supposed to be drinking alcohol, and go, come on, just have a few beers, you know what I mean? And then she'll say, listen, dickhead, I've seen you drinking beer, so was he, so was she, and so was that guy over there. You do what I'm telling you now, I'll have you back in prison next week, dickhead. Now give me that fucking, give me that check, give me these checks, give me the fucking book. Right, I'll give you some money when you need it. And she was fucking stealing these people's money and threatening them, and she was accusing loads of them of rape. When she finally got taken to court for what she'd done, for the serial fucking ruining of people's lives, there's about 10 guys in a row on one bench that she'd accused of rape, and it was demonstrably false in every case that they'd never raped her. Fucking bullshit. She got 6 months. She did 6 months. Ruined all those lives, all those families, lying about rape, and she did 6 months. So if you're black, you know, you better be fucking careful, man. No justice for you. If you're black, you can fucking forget it. And in many cases, it seems if you're a man and a woman says you raped her, you're fucked. You're fucked. And I'm not suggesting that rape is not serious. Fucking yes, it is, and it's not a problem, and it's not a pandemic in its own right. Absolutely. Fucking domestic violence, yes. All these arguments are absolutely valid. Yes, they are. Fact remains, if a woman like Kathy Fordham gets offended because you fancy her mate more than you fancy her, she can ruin your fucking life. And if you're a woman and some Kathy Fordham bitch takes a fancy to your husband, right, and he does not reciprocate because he's married to you, she can destroy your fucking life. No proof required. Purely for vengeance. Poor bastard did 3 years in prison. For no fucking reason whatsoever. Now, Greg Taylor. Another one, not particularly famous. What happened with Greg? Greg was a party boy. North Carolina, I believe, is a party boy. Liked his crack cocaine. He wasn't a crackhead, what you might call a crackhead, like a roving, thieving, nasty, fucking violent man. He was a party boy, you know, and he liked his rock. You know what I mean? That was his drug of choice, and his alcohol. He wasn't a particularly good father because of that, and he spent too much fucking money. But he was, you know, ordinary, really. Quite a nice guy. Ordinary looking guy. You know, ordinary family. Fucking ordinary. I could just make a long list of things and say ordinary before all of it. Fucking ordinary. The only thing really that made him interesting was the lifestyle, the party lifestyle, because he's like a kind of really quiet, reserved kind of guy until the party started. Get the kegs on, you know what I mean? Get the stone out, and then he became the life and soul of the party, apparently. And one night he's out, and he's on the sesh, and he's had a bit of crack. He's round at his friend's house, and they're watching the football, the American football. He says, "I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll go and get some stone, go and get some crack for the lads." So he's gone down to get some crack, and he's got the crack. While he's there, another crackhead, crack lover, maybe not a crackhead, crack lover, gets in the car. You know, crack for you, crack for me. Yes, why not? So they fucking smoked up. This Greg said to his friend, it wasn't a friend, he was an associate really. Look, do you want some more crack? Yeah, I do actually. Well, let's go and get some. I know a place. Boom. So they go around and they're scoring crack, and then they get quite a decent amount, and they've still got some beers, and they drive down a cul-de-sac because they're looking for somewhere to smoke this crack, aren't they? And they drive down this cul-de-sac, you see, and they're sitting there, and it's the fucking party in the car. And they think, fuck me, this is a cul-de-sac. What the fuck are we doing? If a police car comes down here now, we're fucked. So their answer to that is to drive up this fucking lane. So they drive up a lane, and they're in the dark and just looking for somewhere to park the car to, settle in and get the sesh on. And that's what they do. And then they realise, it's pretty late, 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning maybe. It's time to rock. Let's get the rock out of here. So, engine on, fuck. Car won't move. Look, out the door, stuck in the mud, man. You're not getting that shit nowhere. Fuck it, leave the car here. We're not sitting here all night. So they walk back down the lane, and they get back onto the cul-de-sac. Guy says to Greg, "What the fuck's that there? Is that a mannequin?" They're both fucked up, you know what I mean? I mean, they always say that, don't they? Is that a mannequin? I've never fucking seen a mannequin anywhere. I don't think that would be my first instinct to think, is it a mannequin? And that's what they say. They thought, "Oh, is that a mannequin?" And then they've looked and they said, "No, it's a fucking dead body. It's a woman." And we're full of fucking crack. Let's get out of here. You know what I mean? And they've rationalised it. Well, we'll go home, we'll fucking, get out of here. We'll say fuck all. And then we'll come back tomorrow. And if they haven't solved it, or, they're not in the process of solving it, we'll tell them what we saw. But if it's not necessary, we won't put our names up. We won't get involved. That is what it is. The woman was a young woman called Jaquetta Thomas, who was in fact a prostitute and addicted to crack cocaine. So that's unfortunate. Anyway, the next day, Greg goes down to work. He's with his wife. They get in the car and they drive down to where Greg works, and he's talking to his boss, and his boss mentions this because there's a lot of police around and all that. So he says, "Well, we'll go up there." So he says, "Yeah, let's go." So they walk up, the three of them, and Greg says, "Well, I was here last night, I was on the sesh, and I left my fucking car up there, you know what I mean? So I have to go and tell the police and try and get my car back." So that's what they do. So they walk up with police everywhere, and Greg goes up to the police and he says, "Look, you see that car up there on the field, that white one?" And they say, "Yeah." And he says, "Well, that's mine. I left it here last night." "Oh, really? Go and talk to that detective." "Okay, what were you doing here?" "We were drinking beer, having some beers, and we didn't really want to park on the cul-de-sac, so we went up there for somewhere quieter to park, and then we couldn't move the car." "All right, fair enough." And And so they get taken down to the station, and they get questioned, and then the questioning turns to accusations. And very quickly he gets pushed through the system, and he doesn't get bail, and he gets what we call in England remanded. So he gets sent to jail. And that's a problem, because he hasn't got any fucking money. So he can't get a decent lawyer. The lawyer he's got is fucking shit. Absolute fucking dib-dob. Shows any cunt can be a lawyer. If you read a book and maybe get what do you want to get 20-30% on the exam after if you do all the assignments to pass the fucking thing? I don't know, because there's some fucking stupid lawyers on parade. And he got one of them. He's we call them duty briefs in England. In America, they're what are they called? The automatic defence lawyer that you get. State's attorney, is it? That guy's going to protect you from the machine, and of course they know they can't and they don't want to. And there's actually a scene where he was filmed coming out. They're going through the prison, and he says, he looks quite calm, and he says we're innocent, because he fully believed that at some point somebody was going to realise, yeah, these boys didn't do it. And when they go to trial, there's a shitload of evidence against them, against these lads, right? Blood on the car, right? The girl's blood is on the car. That's the main one. And there are two witnesses, right? Crackheads, they don't say they saw the crime. They say they saw the victim with them. And so with two crackheads and the evidence of some blood on the car, which doesn't fucking prove anything really, they get sent to prison, right? And they get sent to life, and they're entirely fucking innocent. Their only crime, I think, that you could say was a crime was leaving the scene of a crime, because they were on the scene of a crime, on the scene of a murder, dead body on the street, and they left. That's wrong. Primarily because they didn't know she was dead. I mean, she might have looked dead, but are you a trained professional? Did you call an ambulance? Did you get the paramedics? Did you bring them there to try and save this person's life? Are you sure that person was dead when you left the scene? No. Could you make a case against somebody for negligent homicide? You didn't know that person was dead. You didn't know if that person was alive. Maybe that person was alive, and you chose to leave the scene because you'd taken crack cocaine and you didn't want to put yourself in the fucking shit, right? And therefore you caused that person's death through your own negligence because you neglected to help. I think there's a case to be made for that. So I'm not championing this guy as a wonderful person. I'm not saying he made the right choices. I'm not saying he did the right things. I'm saying that the guy did not murder anybody, and neither did his fucking friend. Doesn't mean anything. The justice system is not a justice system. It's a fucking game. It gets somebody for the crime. We've got a fucking name on the board, right? And it's red, and we want to turn it black. We want to say, fuck that, solved, right? Who the fuck can we blame? Because as soon as he turned up, they had him down as fucking guilty. As soon as he walked up and said, that's my car, all right, you guilty bastard, just wait over there, we'll talk to you in a minute, right? Because they're lazy fucking idiots, by and large. Lazy fucking idiots. And he was railroaded, and he was not protected. He was not given a chance. And of course his fucking his whole family, completely disintegrated. His wife left him. Apparently she was promising all kinds of loyalties, and then she left him, but who am I to judge? Apparently he wasn't the greatest husband in the world anyway. So again, I'm not just fucking flying to his defence. I'm not defending him. I'm criticising the system. This guy was innocent, and he went to prison, and you can imagine the shit he went through, getting sent down for life. He's in one of these halls, it's not like a private cell. It's like 30 fucking guys to a cell, to a hall with bunk beds in. You know, how do you sleep? And what do you sleep with? So they took a young guy who was just a bit of a dick, who liked his crack, and then when he saw a dead body, he just fucked off because he was on crack, and he thought, shit, I'm going to get caught taking crack, and he fucked off. They took that and they turned it into a 17-year incarceration. And they would not let this fucker out for love nor money. I mean, they've got all kinds of people, all kinds of lawyers taking his case up. The family are doing everything. They're proving that he's fucking innocent. The corruption, man. There was no blood on the fucking car. And they knew that. They knew that when they sent him to prison. The prosecutors, the police, they all knew that. This man was being fitted up. They knew it. They were keeping evidence out. Right? They were withholding evidence from the defence, who was a useless cunt anyway. Right? And they were deliberately perverting the course of justice to send this innocent man to jail, knowing he was fucking innocent. The two of them went to jail, but, you know, I'm on about Greg today. And after 17 years, finally, the pressure grows, and they set up this thing called the Innocence Inquiry Commission, which shouldn't need to exist. And there's 3 judges, and they went there and they have this court case, and it's just fucking, it's peas and carrots, it's fucking obvious. Right? So all the evidence you presented at the original trial was bullshit. Yes, it was. You knew it was bullshit when you said it. Well, yeah. You deliberately withheld evidence that would have fucking proven him innocent. I suppose I did, yeah. And then they let him out. Once his life's fucking ruined. I mean, lucky for him, he kept in shape, looked good coming out. You don't know what's gone on. You don't know what's happened to his mind. And now he's got to get to know his daughter all over again. And what I want to see, really, and I think this should exist, and it has existed in various cultures over the years, especially in ancient Greece, where you send me to prison, right? You give false testimony against me, okay? And I get 20 years in prison. When I come out, I'm released, right? Because it's proven that I'm innocent. And I come out of prison, and I know you're the fucking dirtbag who falsified the evidence to put me in there, knowing it was fucking false. You falsified it. I can prove you falsified the evidence that put me in that fucking cell for 20 years. You owe me 20 years, you fucking slag. Right? And you're going to go and do them. So you have to go and do the 20 years that you gave to me, because you knew it was false when you sent me down. I think that's perfectly fair. And so that would be a nice deterrent, because you say, hey, listen, false accusation bastard, if this gets proven, right, that you're fucking lying, you're going to do the time. You're going to do the maximum sentence. You're accusing this guy of rape. Maximum sentence, 30 years. Maximum sentence, 30 years. If it's proven at any stage that you're lying about this fucking crime, that you were not raped by this fucking man, you're going to do the 30 fucking years. Right? You take 10 minutes to think about that. In the case that it's false, of course. The Guilford 4. Boom, big story, this one. I think we've probably all seen In the Name of the Father, which is a wonderful film. Daniel Day-Lewis is great in that. Pete Postlethwaite, in my opinion, blows him off the screen. Pete Postlethwaite is tremendous in his subtlety in that film. And what's it about? It's about a couple of lads from Belfast. They go to England in the 70s, in the early 70s, looking for fun, man. You know, they've got a hippie flavour to them. They're sick of the fucking bombs. They're sick of the IRA. They're sick of the fucking tanks and the soldiers. You know what I mean? And they want to get the fuck out of there. And they've got long hair. And, the hard guys in the area in Belfast are not feeling that. So they get on a ship and they go with, a few members of the family. And they've got family over there as well. And so they go and they arrive in England. And it's just party time. It's fucking sesh, smoke, and talk. ladies, and you know, you have a fucking shit haircut and no one laughs at you because they've all got a shit haircut, and that was basically what being a hippie was. And they're doing that for a while, unremarkable in that sense, really. And then they get arrested. All of a sudden, they get arrested. Why? Because some bombs went off in Guilford. Some bombs went off in 2 pubs. Terrible. And they were targeted, you see. They were IRA bombs. This is during the period that we call the Troubles. Right? And the IRA bombed pubs. And I think that is fucking disgraceful. I think that is sick. Bombing a fucking pub. This is a place for working men and women who just got to fucking work in the factories or the fucking building sites or the offices. Do what they're doing, man. Get the money together, feed the families, live a normal, dignified life, pay for the kids and fucking education and food and everything else. And maybe they've got a Friday night to go in there and see their friends, and you're going to blow them the fuck up. What? Because there might be 2 or 3 people in there that you'd like to kill, or because you'd like to make a statement. And that's terrorism. And terrorism is a fucking horrible thing, obviously. It's based on terror. As we know, it's not a tactic, it's an ideology. And maybe because the IRA were so good, they were a paramilitary organisation. They weren't a group of criminals. The police were scratching around, you know, and they found these young lads, these young Irish lads, tossing around in England with long hair, and they pulled them in and they fucking chucked them in a cell, and they beat them, and they terrorised them, and they tortured them, and they made them sign false fucking confessions. And part of the confessions actually were that members of their family who were called the Maguires, members of their family were involved in this. So the Guilford Four were the people, the young people who were originally brought in, and they were Paul Hill and Jerry Conlon. They're the 2 that are featured in the film. And there's another guy called Patrick Armstrong. He gets brought in as well. And a girl called Carol Richardson. And they get brought in as well, and they get tortured, they get beat. You know what I mean? This is Guantanamo Bay. Nasty, fucking horrible, English imperialistic, you're fucking with the empire, nasty violence, man. And of course, Paul Hill and Jerry Conlon, they couldn't take it, so they signed whatever the fuck was put in front of them. They admitted to whatever the fuck was put in front of them. They lost it. They lost their minds completely, and through that they incriminated the Maguires. And I mean, this is a family. It's just a family. And the mother of the family was known in the area for being a lovely person, baking cakes, helping the neighbours. She was known for anti-IRA stance. And there was no fucking connection between this lady and terrorism whatsoever. And so then one day, the police, probably stirred up with MI5, special branch maybe, just fucking bang, through the door again, fuck you. And they just start raping the place, they just start absolutely chucking everything everywhere, you know. You're fucking terrorists, you're fucking terrorists. And the lady, the head of the family, Granny Maguire, I'm going to call her, the head of the Maguire clan, she said, you see that plug there? I couldn't fucking put a fuse in that, much less build a fucking bomb. What are you doing in my house? They all get arrested, even the kids, man. They arrest the kids, they bring the kids in, They fucking throw the kids into interview rooms. These are torture cells. And they torture the kids. They torture the parents. They torture the grandmother. Right? They fucking, the mother, sorry. They torture the mother of the family. They torture the fucking aunts and uncles. They torture the fucking children. I'm talking as young as 10 years old. The youngest one, Paddy, was 10 years old. I think his name was Paddy. And, I mean, horrendous. You know, they put guns to their heads. They fucking beat them black and blue. Punching and kicking them to fuck. And they sent them all to prison. And they got long ass fucking sentences. They sent the kids to adult prison. They put them in proper adult fucking prison. Where, you know, they had horrendous experiences. Fucking horrendous. And it took them a very long time. They all did, you know, several of them involved. Another 6 people were charged with murder, but eventually those cases were dropped. And the Maguires and the Guilford 4, you know, they all got years in prison. They did between 15 and 16 fucking years apiece. And as we see in the film, when the investigation's fucking mounting pressure to get these people out of prison, it all comes to light again. They completely railroaded them. They falsified evidence. They fucking hid evidence. Right? Completely corrupt system. They knew they were sending innocent people to prison. And is that the worst thing about it? Or is it that the real perpetrators were still at large? I mean, I don't know. It's bad across the board. It's bad across the board. But when you're fucking beating up kids and torturing kids and throwing them in prison, and, you know, you're throwing innocent people in jail in general and keeping them there for 15, 16 fucking years, knowing that they're innocent and knowing what you've done, and you're able to go to sleep. These are the dogs of the empire. These are the dogs of the fucking state. And it shows you that, again, no matter where you are in the world, unless you've got the resources, you simply can't defend yourself. There is no justice for you. You know, we saw Reuben Carter. He was black in the wrong time, in the wrong place. 19 fucking years, mate. Innocent as fuck. Jamie Nelson. He was a man, you know, at the wrong time, in the wrong place. 3 years for a crime he did not commit. Greg Taylor. Fucking stupid. In the wrong time, in the wrong place. 17 years for a crime he did not commit. And the Guilford 4 and the Maguires, Irish, in the wrong time, in the wrong place. 16 fucking years. So what's the message of the Power Hour? We need to change things fundamentally on this fucking planet. There is no justice, only the justice that can be fucking paid for or taken. And unless we're all going to start paying for our justice with money we haven't got, we're going to have to stand up and fucking take it from these bastards. That's my conclusion. Power to you, right? Power to me, power to the people. Boom.